You're listening to Mad Men Sports. Now, of course, the NFL. Oh, also, social distancing. We are at least 6 feet apart. So don't worry, guys.
We also live together, so it's not a big deal.
So we're keeping very safe. Don't worry.
We stay in where we can.
The NFL, obviously, the NFL draft will be coming up this week. Before we get into that, though, we would want to express some personal news that we are very excited about.
Brand news, not personal.
Personal brand.
The doctor
news.
said it was cleared up. We have no personal.
Thank God. Okay. But in terms of Mad Men Sports, we released a message board called the Mad Men Lot. Zach, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so it's a message board. Now, when I was younger, I'm still young, I can't say that. When I was younger, there used to be message boards everywhere. Everyone used to have message boards. It'd be a great place to start forums. Twitter came along, and now we were, conducive to, 90 characters, 140 now?
120 and then 240.
140 and then 240, yeah. And then, so the conversation got really limited. On top of that, the way the conversation flowed became a little antsy.
It became awkward.
You get lost in the thread a little bit. You clog up timelines. I think it's time, especially now more than ever, to kick it back towards the message board. So we opened up. Jake and I have been talking about this for weeks. We finally put it in motion the last couple days. Put it out there. It's launched. Right now, scroll on down. It'll be in the bio.
The link.
The Mad
description.
Men Lot. Yeah, it'll be in the description, and it will be in the description of the show as too on the audio. So if you're listening to audio still, continue.
Thank you.
And also, keep going on that. But yeah, the Mad Men Lot, it is linked to our page. It's on our website that we have. Richard posts his fantasy articles on there. Well, now we also want to create a forum conversation, which is through the moon. We're excited. We want there to be a great conversation, but that's not all.
That's not all?
Oh, whatever. There's a forum. These guys are kind of whatever. We talk. We listen to them for 25 minutes a week, and then we go somewhere else.
Thank you, by the way.
Go about our day. Exactly. No, we appreciate you guys so much. We want to get this forum off the ground. We want to get the conversation going. Our first round, our draft, kind of like our draft game we were going to do, or give away a Bills jersey, an all-time Legends jersey. That kind of fell through when we traded for Stephon Diggs. I'd rather have Stephon Diggs. We aren't giving away this jersey. This is just more of a prop now that we put up this week.
Legend.
However, we're going to add a new competition to this because we love giving away things. We're not rich, but we're willing to spread the wealth where we can. We will be giving away a $100 NFL Shop gift card.
A $100?
To everyone that signs up, makes an account, and posts an opinion on there.
Not everyone.
To get that going.
You said everyone. Not everyone.
No, we'll be giving away to anyone. Yeah, so, excuse me. I'm just so excited. I want to give everyone $100. We only have so much to share.
Entered for a chance to win a $100
Everyone's
gift card.
eligible to win one $100 gift card at NFLshop.com. And honestly, that's one brand new Bills jersey.
Yeah, I don't think. Listen, I would love to give away 10,000 $100 gift cards, but I just don't think that's in the budget.
Listen, stimulus checks are only so much.
Keep subscribing, keep viewing,
and we'll
keep liking,
giving.
keep subscribing.
Keep giving, honestly,
we can give that one day.
Yeah, honestly, hopefully. But no, listen, we have this whole plan. We want to get this off the ground. We want to get everyone talking. We want to start a Bills conversation, a conducive, positive place to really get the conversation going, Bills style. We'll be hunting through it. We'll have a segment every show about what happened in the message board this week. We're excited to get this off the ground. It's the off season. We're trying to entertain ourselves. You guys are trying to entertain yourself. Let's get on the message board. Let's get talking. Let's talk about some Bills theories.
It's going to be awesome. And shout out to Daniel as well, the homie who I met at his place of employment in Delavan, New York. I see you, man. I appreciate it. Honestly.
Dude, honestly,
I was glowing afterwards.
Jake was the last one out of the three of us to have someone reach out to them in public and be like, hey, you're from Mad Men Sports.
I have never been recognized.
Jake thought we were lying. It
exactly.
happens.
I was so jealous that Zach and Diamond Dave has had people come up to them and be like, oh, hey, Mad Men Sports, I know you guys. And I've never had that wonderful experience. So it was really nice to kind of see all this hard work pay off. And it's going to kind of, at least for me, motivate me more to put out more content to make sure that we are the best for you guys, because we do this for fun. We would talk about the Buffalo Bills whether or not there was a camera or microphones.
Yeah.
But we just decided, hey,
Let's get everyone talking.
let's try it.
I don't think we're dicks. I want to keep everyone talking.
And I'm glad to see that we have had such success in the past 2 years. And I would really like to thank all of you listeners as well.
Tommy, if you're watching, I know you are. I need a haircut, man, and we gotta get through this stuff so we can get this haircut.
Oh my! I know I might come through as well. I need a haircut so bad.
Absolutely. So let's get into our actual show. What are we, 5 minutes deep?
5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, 5.5 minutes deep.
That's fine.
It's time to talk about the draft. It's a big week. Not as big as it could have been. Like I said, we
without the
traded for
first round.
Stephon Diggs, which I'll take Stephon Diggs right now any day of the week, right?
No,
Twice on
1,000%.
Thursdays.
Especially with the lack of kind of visibility that these rookies are getting. I mean, everything's virtual now. There's no physicals, so it's kind of tough to be able to put that much stock into a player to take them with a first round.
100%. 100%. This draft is one of the most mysterious things I've ever seen. Like, it's kind of the old adage, like, you know, you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You know what I mean? Like, this draft's ugly no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, and it's just weird because it's very unprecedented. I mean, nothing like this has happened before. I mean, you're not even having a physical location in any capacity. Everything's going to be done via video conference, and they invited 50 some odd draftees to show up on Zoom or something. We're in very strange and unprecedented times. So, I mean,
honestly, I'm glad we're all going through it together because we'll all experience history with this NFL draft. Hopefully, you know, the circumstances change quicker for the benefit for us. But,
sure.
You know, the Bills, second round's their first pick, 54. Their 54th is their first pick. I'll take Stephon Diggs and my first pick being the 54th. Now, let's go with this. Do you think the Bills stay at 54?
So I take a look at Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott's draft history. While there may not be much to look at, they aren't afraid to trade either up or down. But I think, in even looking back to the whole Tre'Davious White pick, they're not afraid to move back into the draft to pick someone who they think is still going to be there. And with still not having a first round pick, that's fine. Going into the second round, I think, I mean, what is that? Maybe the middle of the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
Towards the end, yeah. I mean, there's 64 picks then.
So maybe they'd move back at least 6 or 7 spots, but I'd be hard pressed to say that they're going to go out of the second round. They'll still have a second round pick, but
54 specifically, do you think they stay there? Or no?
No, I think they'll move back. Because, look, there's not glaring holes on this team like we've been used to in the past. I mean, we have a number 1 wide receiver. We have the number 2, number 3. We should be decently happy with what we have at tight end. We had a lot of acquisitions in defense. So it's basically just best player available. And if you think that you can get someone at a better value, a couple picks back, why not do it? And add up that draft capital.
See, when I posed this question earlier today, and we were just kind of dicking around, you know, talking about what we're doing tonight, I thought maybe we would jump forward.
Really?
And you know what? From what I've heard from Brandon Beane, he was on Pardon My Take this week.
Yeah, wonderful.
Really
awesome.
interesting. You know, we all know Frank Gore's a big baller. I waited for a spit take on that one. But yeah, I mean, Brandon Beane was on there, and he was talking about how, you know, maybe with this draft there's some unknown. Maybe there's a lot of things that people can. It's totally different. You might be able to get some steals in this draft just due to the fact that some things might happen. I think I could see the Bills jumping up closer to the earlier picks. I think I could see them seeing, you know, someone's sitting there at 38 that we thought was going to go in, you know, top 20.
I mean, who do you think they'd be targeting?
I mean, it could be anything. Listen, with all this draft talk going around, I don't think it's going to be wide receiver at this point. I think we got at least 5 solid ones that are making the roster at this point.
1,000%.
Maybe there's a right tackle. Maybe that Shazon from LSU is still sitting around. I mean, his stock has fallen a little bit. You know, the guy from Iowa might still be there. There's a lot of it, like guys that have value that could just slip through the cracks due to just the technology of everything, the communication errors that might break down, the difference of opinions. It's different when you're in a war room with like your scouts, your head scouts, your assistant GMs, your player personnel people. and you're able to have a face-to-face conversation, and you get to see the vigor. You know when you're having a phone call with someone, you don't have that same kind of pushback. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
With all the technical difficulties that could, ensue, all the problems that could arise, my phone cut out, all that. I mean, the world's your oyster when it comes to technical difficulties. We know we deal with it
all the time,
once a month. I mean, exactly. Like the world could happen. I think I could see a top 20 guy maybe slip down to the late first, heavy early second, mid second, and then Brandon Beane's like, let's screw it, we're going to get him. That's our guy. He's a guy that goes and gets his people.
Exactly, and it'll be interesting to see. To your point, there may be players that somehow slip through the cracks. I mean, there are players that slip through every single year. I mean, you look at DK Metcalf, for instance.
You mentioned him
really
specifically. Yeah.
Solid year as a rookie with the Seattle Seahawks. Had all that kind of pre-draft hoopla, saying like, "Look how ripped I am," but I mean, NFL GMs were hesitant to think that would translate to
turn left, buddy. That's all we got to figure out.
Exactly. So I can't imagine that's something like that in some capacity is not bound to happen again. So if that is the case, you're looking at the first couple picks in round 2, and you have your guy who you slated in the first 15 picks. Sure, move up, grab that guy.
That's what you'd be aiming for. Now, in terms of positions, you look at our roster on paper.
Fantastic.
Best it's been in years. Looks pretty.
Best in years.
Where do you think a second round pick or third rounder? Where are they looking in the second round here? I mean, what's your top priority? I know we spoke with Matt Perino, Ryan Talbot. We talked to some of the guys that are on the beat around there, and check those shows out if you haven't already. They're great interviews, honestly, and not because of us. Those guys are pros.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean. But those guys mentioned, running back was a hot topic for those guys. Don't mean to bring up the department store, but the running back was a hot topic for those, second round spots. Let's see who's there. Yeah, check the stocks. What position are you thinking, Jacob?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I was looking at a lot of mock drafts. I mean, it's mock draft season, so a lot of analysts are having us take a defensive end, which, I mean, on paper, without knowing the Buffalo Bills defense, you look at Jerry Hughes, he's getting up there in age. We lose Shaq Lawson. Trent Murphy's numbers haven't been where they've been or where we want them to be. So I don't necessarily think, I mean, we could certainly go defensive end. Going to running back as Zach and, of course, Matt Perino and Ryan Talbot. We're talking, I mean, you've said it 1,000 times at this point.
Dime a dozen.
Running backs are a dime a dozen. And if you can get a fantastic player outside of being a running back, which you have to be confident that you can find in the 4th, 5th round. So why put all that draft capital?
Maybe you get an Akers, in the late 3rd,
exactly.
early 4th. There's guys there.
Knowing someone where we've had Carlos Williams jump out the spot out of nowhere.
Bunches of touchdowns.
Exactly. James Wilder, Mike Gillislee.
He goes to somewhere else, disappears.
Exactly. So knowing that there are a dime a dozen, I'm pretty hard-pressed to want to be able to take a running back, especially when we have Devin Singletary. It's not like we're looking for a number 1 running back, so I would be hard-pressed to find a backup player in the second round.
I hear you. And I think if they do go second round running back, I think it's more of a 1A, 1B.
No, of course. It wouldn't.
I'm not saying you thought otherwise, but I'm thinking that's got to be the way they would think. Listen, I'm hard pressed to find an actual need. And I know that might be a lazy take, but damn, this team's well put together at the moment. They got their offensive line for what it seems like. Their right tackle, I think just with more experience, that becomes a more viable option. You still have Ty Nsekhe, you still have Cody Ford. Why does that have to change too much of what was last year? Running back, I like TJ Eldon. He was a starter in Jacksonville. We know his connection with Kelly Skipper at the running back spot. I know I love bringing that up. I can't wait to get into that segment this summer. Is
Meet the Coach
segment. I love that. We go through. If you guys weren't here last year, we go through the whole coaching staff. Give them your resume. Give them their experience, everything, fun facts. I think we brought up something about someone last. I mean, we just know random facts about these people for a good reason, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. But I think there's just so much to be had at running back. Dime a dozen. TJ Eldon could be pressed right into it, and who knows there. I don't need another tight end. I don't need another wide receiver. I do like safeties. You know how I feel about Poyer, but they just signed him to a contract. Mm-hmm. Maybe they groom a guy, but they also got Johnson from last year. So, I mean, it's a well put together roster. If I had to gun to my head, Outside linebacker. Best player available at the edge, pass rush outside linebacker.
Give AJ Klein some competition.
That's exactly what
Also
I'm
with
thinking.
Matt Milano being near the end of his contract.
That's what I'm
So
thinking.
then to replace him,
One or the
either.
other. You know, maybe a sense of security come contract talks, because eventually you do have to take care of your guys, but you also have to go in with, I can't pay everyone. And I'm not saying I don't love Matt Milano. Who doesn't love a guy undersized from BC that plays with every intensity you could ask for out of an outside linebacker? But maybe, you know, go to the negotiating tables with a guy that's, 2-3 years younger?
Exactly.
2
Say,
years
hey,
younger,
we have
and
this
say,
guy.
hey, this guy is waiting in the wings, you know? Let's get him out here. Or, you know, stay if you want. Or you go to the negotiating table, Matt Milano wants to stay, albeit good for him, great for him. Get another young linebacker, and then next year, AJ Klein's playing filler spot for Matt Milano and, you know.
Blank.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be really interesting to see him go outside linebacker. It'll probably be best player available as long as it's not a punter or a kicker.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
would take a new punter, though. Shout out to Corey.
Corey Bajorquez. But no, that would certainly be a surprise, being a kicker or punter selected in the second round, obviously. But what would you consider being your most feasible draft day surprise?
Draft day surprise, like in the draft, like who's not there still?
Yeah.
Or who is still there? I don't know when it comes to the Bills draft day to surprises. Are you talking about just the NFL? Because I think on Sunday night next week when we're talking about our podcast, there's a plethora of things that could be a year and surprise us. I'd say Bills-wise, a surprise would be that they gave up next year's capital to move up into the first round, which we're still going to watch like a hawk that first round just because Brandon Beane's wheeler, dealer, riverboat gambler, you know? Yeah. He's an offspring of Riverboat Ron's system, you know? So you can never be too sure. Yeah, I guess that would be my biggest draft day surprise is they took in next year's capital.
I think my biggest draft day surprise would be, taking a wide receiver at this point. I mean, you have the kind of acquisition of Stephon Diggs. You have Cole Beasley. You have John Brown. You have on the kind of back end as well, you have Isaiah McKenzie and for now Robert Foster. So while if we bring in that kind of talent, a second round draft pick in, people are saying the best wide receiver class in 10 years, that would make for interesting competition. But do you really want competition in this kind of environment when you have really good guys? I would be afraid.
Why waste capital?
Exactly. I would be afraid that he would be a wasted draft pick because of the guys we have in this room right now.
There's a lot of deep talent. It just seems like Brandon Beane decided that they weren't good enough for his draft capital, honestly.
1,000%. And I think with all things considered as well, I mean, you see guys that are just posting videos of their pro day workouts. I don't think that that's going to be enough to sway Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott into one direction.
You know what would make me happy but not so much surprise me, and I know I'm going to get a little bit of a pushback on this?
What's up?
Trade all of your picks this year to next year's capital.
We were talking about that on one of our walks. I mean,
yeah. I mean, why would you want any part of this when you can't even hang out with the guys that you're about to draft? Think about all those meetings lost, all those workouts lost.
You look at that YouTube series that the Buffalo Bills did. They did a lot of pre-work on Cody Ford. They're like, "Oh,
you're going to miss on all that.
Are you angry, or what are you, Cody Ford?" And you're not going to get that this year.
Yeah, I mean, they had the combine. You know, pour one out for the combine. But
definitely.
Honestly, it would surprise me, yes, because I don't have the master key to ideas. But
sure,
get all your capital out of here.
Definitely
Ship
would
it
be
off.
the best year to trade.
Absolutely, double down. You want a second round pick?
This.
Give me your first round next year.
Exactly.
Do it. Like that'd be my greatest one. So, guys, that was a little draft preview for you. We would have more content, but also we don't
have a first round.
Yeah, we don't have a first rounder, and to be honest, we unloaded a bunch of interviews last week that everyone talked about drafts. So check those out if you're dying for some draft content. Next podcast, I promise we'll move our seats back so we're looking at you. We didn't need to have such a hard look at us today. But join the Mad Men lot. It's the message board. The link will be below.
In the description.
All you have to do is sign up, make a post, and you are...